Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
It is my pleasure to offer you the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo Pig Suey.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
You know, I guess this would usually be a pretty exciting part of the year for a college football fan, especially if your team is playing in a meaningful bowl game or in a New Year's Six game or any of the semifinals. You got a chance for the national championship. Even for teams that are on the cusp of bowl contention, this is an exciting time of the year because tomorrow is when you start to see exactly what your incoming class is going to look like, and therefore the future of your program. And then there are the programs that are rebuilding, or at least bringing in new head coaches. But even in the SEC, the teams that are bringing in new head coaches, the three of them we've been talking about pretty exhaustively for the last couple of weeks. Missouri, Ole Miss, Arkansas. Even Missouri and Ole Miss do not find themselves in the situation that Sam Pittman does with Arkansas, where you just don't have a large class to speak of at all. What, 6? You'll maybe be able to get a handful of others that potentially sign starting tomorrow for the incoming class, but you're definitely at a point where I heard Sam Pittman mention this on the Morning Rush yesterday. That early signing period is a killer for new coaches, and certainly it's a situation that Pittman has not found himself in ever before, as good of a recruiter as he is. And you're not going to be able to distinguish whether or not he's got the creds as a head coach to recruit at Arkansas this year, just because you are so far behind. So it's going to be impossible to judge Pittman's ability to recruit as a head coach this year. Maybe he'll be able to get some kids to flip. Seems already that's been the case in a couple of cases. But I feel, Ty, it's a pretty tough day, you know, the day before signing day, to look at the numbers that the other teams in the SEC have coming in. I mean, even the 12th and the 13th best or third or second worst recruiting classes in the SEC feel like they're light years ahead of Arkansas. And with the makeup of the roster already, you're already behind the 8 ball. I got to be honest. This early signing period for Arkansas just feels like a bit of. I don't want to throw water on the good time that everybody's had celebrating Sam Pittman, but it's kind of a depressing time of the year to be an Arkansas fan right now because you just don't have the Never mind 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. You don't have the numbers you need to rebuild a roster for next year.
As you mentioned, 6 hard commits right now. We'll see what happens on early signing period tomorrow, but you're exactly right. I was talking with Tyler McComas, who we've had on this program before, who does a radio show out of Norman, and just the difference between what their aspect, what their day is going to look like, how their callers are going to react compared to Arkansas's is going to be vastly different. Last season, you had a bad year, but the recruiting class was something you were looking forward to. 22, 23, 24-ish in the country. You were excited about that. You were excited about some of these young studs coming in. This year, you can't say the same. 2 of your best players in the state are leaving. You're only 2 4-stars according to 24/7. This is just not a happy time for Arkansas football. Last year, despite that season, it was a happy time based on what you thought you were getting with some of these young kids coming in. This class, not so much, Phil.
No, not at all. And it's funny, you talk to Tyler covering Oklahoma. And by OU standards, having the 11th best recruiting class in the country, according to Rivals, probably not where they'd like to be or where they're used to being. And then there's Arkansas. And Arkansas right now by Rivals is ranked 99th in the country for the upcoming recruiting class. That ties them with Fresno State and puts Arkansas one slot behind Tulsa in the recruiting rankings. Arkansas State is ranked 91st. Now, a lot of this is just because of the raw numbers. 6 recruits for Arkansas that have made a verbal commitment means that this is the smallest recruiting class out of the top 100 in the country. Again, this all according to Rivals. So, I mean, if you can latch on to a couple more kids here and there that might even have some interest in Arkansas right now, though they might be committed to other schools. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you get those raw numbers up, this recruiting class ranking starts to tick up a little bit. Now, I mean, maybe you got a shot at like a 4-star recruit like Marcus Henderson, offensive guard out of Memphis. Maybe the same with Miles Slusher, the 4-star safety out of Broken Arrow. He's committed to Oregon but might flip to Arkansas. Henderson's uncommitted. So if you get a couple of these kids, the rankings tick up a little bit. But this shows you the starting point that Sam Pittman is at with the recruiting class, because it got decimated by Chad Morris's firing. And, I mean, all the kids from Texas said, see you later. I don't know any of them that are even thinking about giving Arkansas a second look. But if you can get a couple of these kids to flip, if you get Henderson to sign, I think that's a big one, because, I mean, all the 6 recruits right now are all on the defensive side. You have 0 offensive recruits, no quarterbacks either, and that's something we'll get into later. This is a team that's going to have to get into the transfer portal to find a quarterback just to fill up the quarterback room for next year. Yeah. This is a conversation we're going to be having all year long, Ty. The raw numbers for this team just do not make it seem that there's much of a shot for an improvement upon next season in Sam Pittman's first year.
And you mentioned it early on in the segment, the difficulty that Sam Pittman is walking into in this early signing period. I actually got that clip, so I'm going to go and play that. This is what he was talking about when he got on campus and just kind of what he's going to have to go up against.
If someone fires their coach, this early signing period, it kills you. I remember when Georgia fired their coach, they hired Kirby. It wasn't the early signing period. So by the time we signed our class there at Georgia, we probably had a top 10, top 8 class. We signed some really good players. We were excited about it. But if the early signing date would have happened, about 70, I don't know the number, I'm guessing, probably about 70% of the kids available are gone by the time the second signing date comes along. And it makes it tough now. It does. But we're not going to cry about something we can't control. We're going to go out there and sign the best players we can in this first signing period. But does it make it hard on a new staff? Absolutely.
Phil, you mentioned that they only have defensive players committed right now. That's partially because you don't know who your OC is going to be. Right. There seems to be some movement on that, and Sam Pittman has openly talked about that on different radio shows, how he wants to hire an OC sooner than later. But if you're an offensive player, a high school kid, I'm not going to commit until I know who's going to be my coach day in, day out. Now, you have Brad Davis, you have Justin Stepp at wide receiver and Davis at offensive line, but you still want to know who your OC is. I don't really get mad at kids for not committing or decommitting based on who may or may not be their offensive coordinator. Now, they know who their defensive coordinator is. That's Barry Odom. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but right now, man, you're just at a loss because you don't know who's heading up that side of the ball, Phil.
Well, it would behoove Sam Pittman to settle on who it is he wants to be as OC as soon as possible, because maybe that could be the reason that a couple of offensive players that are considering Arkansas might choose Arkansas. And you mentioned there's been some, I guess smoke would be the right word. A couple of websites that cover the Florida State Seminoles have reported that Kendall Briles has interviewed further with Sam Pittman. I saw Danny West mention he expected that Kendall Briles was in Fayetteville yesterday. Former OC at Florida State, did great work at Houston, working for Applewhite, and at FAU working for Lane Kiffin. So maybe where there's smoke, there's a little bit of fire, and that would be one last piece. Well, you got a lot of pieces of the puzzle of the coaching staff to go, but that would be the last big piece of the coaching staff puzzle with Barry Odom signed, and now you got to figure out who the OC is going to be. Something we'll be talking all throughout the show today on the day before National Signing Day. And if you want to get with us, 877-377-6963 is our line for calls or texts. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline. We'll take your calls and texts up until 2 o'clock on halftime. We are brought to you, as always, by The Fence Man. If you own a business that needs more security or just needs more curb appeal, a new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. And that's because the Fence Man specializes in custom installations, and they've been doing it for over 40 years. Things like gates or controlled access card readers. Call The Fence Man for a quick, no-obligations quote. And ask for Henry. The number at The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. Again, that's 479-782-3936. The Fence Man, a division of Quantum Property Services. Our one more number to give you. Again, that's 877-377-6963, the Cherokee Casino hotline, to get on halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
So let's go to the Cherokee Casino hotline and welcome in the head coach of the Razorback football team, Sam Pittman.
The difference in me and maybe anybody else, recruiting is going to have a high emphasis in this program, and it's the only way you can change what you have. And again, I'm proud of what we have. We just need to add to the roster.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9, only on ESPN 95.3.
Hi, this is Melissa with True Grit Running Company. Searching for stocking stuffers for the runners in your life? We have lots of options including socks, headbands, shoelaces, water bottles, gloves, hats, and more. Want to buy them a pair of shoes but not sure about size or model? A gift card is always the perfect size. And you're not just giving a card, you're giving an experience. They'll receive the personal attention and True Grit fit we're known for. Find the ultimate gift today at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Hi, I'm Serafin from La Huerta. Here we like everything caliente. We have daily, lunch, and dinner drink specials. Happy hour every day from 2 to 6. Check it out. Football and drink specials all season. Voted best of the best Mexican restaurant and best of the best margarita. We have over 15 TVs for your viewing pleasure. We have 4 locations to serve you. Open 7 days a week. La Huertas. Eat until you hurt. In Fort Smith. La Huertas.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith. Just call 484-9888. And Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren. Call 474-9888. And online, kohlergreen.com.
Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
This is ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Into the front court, they hand it off to Joe. Nice pick and roll. Bailey with a one-hand throwdown. How about that? The assist, the throwdown, and the Hawks are up by 5.
Good to be with you on this Tuesday. Nice that the sun is out and shining today. Well, still very chilly. Gosh, I mean, I hadn't heard about December tornadoes very much. I thought that's usually a spring and summer thing, and here we are, mid-December, and our friends to the south and to the east of Arkansas getting decimated by the awful storms yesterday. Well, we did make it through mostly, I think, throughout Arkansas, mostly unscathed. I think there were some tornadoes in the southern part of the state, so hopefully everybody there is A-OK. We are A-OK on Halftime today, and appreciate you joining me and Ty. Again, our number on the Cherokee Casino hotline is 877-377-6963. And there are no games to speak of this week for Arkansas athletics, but you do have basketball at Simmons Bank Arena. Can I still call it, Ty, the arena with no teams, even though they do have 2 teams that will, well, I guess you could say 3 teams could call it like a home arena Saturday, that being Arkansas men and women and the UALR women's team. It's still, to me,
you
the
call
arena
it whatever
with no
you want, buddy.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're not a stakeholder in Simmons Bank. All right, so Barry Odom's contract came out. You got to say, I mean, $1.2 million definitely seems like a lot of money, but when it's somebody that had been a head coach for the previous 4 years at Missouri, it feels like a steal because also he's making less than John Chavis would have made. Chavis made 1.5 this last season, was due to make a raise of $1.6 million, which just, I mean, that makes me scratch my head to the point where there's a dent in it because for me, shouldn't you be getting raises for good performance? Arkansas's defense might have been the worst that they've ever had on the Hill, and yet Chavis was due to make a raise. So, and then Odom, and look, I mean, Chavis had a good reputation, bordering on great. There were detractors that we heard from, plenty of them, in fact, when he signed the contract at Arkansas. I haven't heard a single thing like that about Barry Odom when it comes to being a defensive coordinator. Everybody says, I mean, everybody, national, local, everybody says this is one of the best hires of the offseason for any team when it comes to a coordinator, yet he's going to make less than John Chavis, who is now the defensive coordinator at Tulane, where he certainly is not making any 1.6.
Yeah, and I don't think if you're the Razorback Foundation, you're complaining that Barry Odom signed for less money because that makes your job that much easier. And, again, Hunter Yurchek mentioned this in the press conference that the salary pool for assistant coaches was about $5 million. So you kind of have to base on that. You subtract 1.2. I don't know what Stepp and Davis are making. I don't know if those – I think Stepp's – those figures have been released. I don't know about Davis's if his figures have been released. But you just got to start factoring stuff in depending on how much the OC is paid. Your new offensive coordinator, you got to factor that in because it all adds up when it comes to the $5 million.
Anybody find out what Chad Morris is being paid by Auburn? That's, to me, it's felt. I Google searched it earlier, and we haven't found a darn thing. Seems to be like a state secret at Auburn. They don't want anybody to know because that's the other thing that can help the Razorback Foundation save some money, offsetting the buyout that they still have to pay him.
And Chad Morris is supposed to seek comparable payment, so he can't get like $50,000 a year or something. He has to. His payday has to be comparable for an offensive coordinator in the SEC, so that would subtract from the buyout, Phil. I did see that Gus Malzahn said, I believe in their Monday press conference, that he would be calling plays at the bowl game, which I kind of found interesting. I think that Chad's kind of get acclimated to their staff, their team, their players and stuff, and then we'll see what happens next year, who's calling plays for the Auburn Tigers.
Well, one thing's for certain about Chad Morris. If you're going to take him at his word, he has absolutely nothing to do with his son's decision as to whether or not he's going to play at Auburn. I'm sure. Nothing at all to do with it. Let's go to the Cherokee Casino hotline. Cliff has dialed in. Cliff's in Fort Smith. Hi, Cliff. You're on the air.
Hey, Phil, this is Cliff. Yeah, I just calling to talk a little bit about recruiting. We've been talking about the early signing period and all that. And we all know with the new coach coming in, we went through this, 2 years ago. There's no use in crying over spilt milk. We need to be looking, to my opinion, at the JUCO and the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. That gives us a little bit more time in that, second recruiting period to get the players that we need. So I'm going to love the players that come in, and I'm going to love that recruiting class coming in. But I think, no use in crying over spilt milk. We need to be thinking outside the box and going to that transfer portal and getting those JUCO players in. And I'll hang up and listen to what.
Well, it's a good call, Cliff. And I mean, he's using the same terminology that Sam Pittman used about not crying over spilt milk. The trouble is there's been a lot of spilt milk. I mean, like gallons worth, maybe an entire truck's worth of milk spilled as far as recruiting's concerned, with 2 lost classes over the course of 3 years. But I mean, you did find out of JUCO Rakeem Boyd in Chad before Chad Morris ever coached the game at Arkansas. He brought Boyd, who I think we're going to look back at Boyd's 2 years at Arkansas, maybe a third year. I guess we'll find that out sometime in the next month or so. As a guy that had a couple of pretty darn good seasons behind bad offensive lines and quarterbacks who just couldn't complete passes. Yeah. It's amazing, really, what Boyd did. So, I mean, it's a good point. And I read, I think, in the Democrat Gazette that, they have shown interest in junior college players. They're going to have to. There's no doubt. You have to. Again, just to get the numbers up. So, I mean, while they're not, sure, it's not worth crying over spilt milk, but the milk is still a fact. And you're already behind the 8 ball as far as roster depth in a lot of positions, and you're only going to fall even further behind unless you hit some gems, unless you hit some JUCO gems, unless there's another Rakeem Boyd out there, or unless – and look, there are a lot of quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I mean a ton, like almost 50 of them right now. Certainly not a lot of them are SEC caliber, but there's some kids out there that are looking for playing time or at least have the opportunity to compete for a job. With 3 quarterbacks in that room right now, there's plenty of – you bring somebody in, there's going to be some competition. I expect there'll be a quarterback who transfers to Arkansas sometime in the next couple of months.
And I think to Cliff's point, Phil, you look at what Eric Musselman did in his first year at Arkansas, and I say first year, really the recruiting class, the kind of patchwork model where you bring in a bunch of transfers and then you go after the actual high school kids, which is what he's done. He's got 4 in-state / play out-of-state kids that are going to come in this next recruiting class. So, I mean, the other 3 signed, but the initial recruiting class that he came in late, he got a bunch of transfers. I think you have to go about the model that Cliff just referred to, the JUCO route, the transfer portal route, because you got to make as many spots and positions be as filled as you can. I know you don't want to just throw someone in there, just give someone a scholarship just to fill a position. But if you think that they're adequate enough to play at the SEC level and they'll fit your system and they're a JUCO transfer portal kid, I think you got to go after them, because it's a lot harder to start or close on a relationship with a high school kid, Phil, based on where so many other coaches have already made that much more progress than you since he just arrived at Arkansas.
So I know that there was a lot of high hopes that maybe Sam Pittman could get Jacoby Criswell to flip. He did visit him in Morrilton, but that is not going to happen. I think it was Jacoby's mother that tweeted yesterday, pretty much just putting all of it to rest. Any doubts that people would have that he's going to go to play at North Carolina for Mack Brown, she pretty much puts it all to rest. He's going to be a Tar Heel, which leaves you with 0 quarterbacks in this incoming class. Now, here's the other thing, too. I wonder about this. Criswell's going to a school in North Carolina that's got a pretty good freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
True freshman quarterback. Sam Howell set their school record with 35 passing touchdowns. So, it would seem to me that he's inherited the starting job for next year. And you wonder about, it's not just Criswell, it's a lot of quarterbacks. and this is something to get into later on, but it's the 49 quarterbacks in the transfer portal right now. And The Athletic ran a piece that Max Olson wrote that a quarterback from 2014 through 2017, any incoming freshman quarterback through those 3 seasons, if they did not start a game either of their first 2 years, 75% chance that they transferred. Even if they did start a game in those first 2 years, there was like a 50% chance that they transferred. So, hey, you're going to have to give up on Criswell signing with Arkansas right now. That doesn't mean he's going to be at North Carolina for the rest of his college career.
Recruiting has changed so much of the years. Back in the day, if a kid committed, you just let him go. It was thought. Now, if he's committed, you're still going after him because he hadn't signed. And now the idea is, even if he signed and goes to that whatever school, there's an idea, because the transfer portal has been so rampant as of late, that he could come back. You still want to have a relationship with that said kid, basketball, football, baseball, in the future, because he could eventually come call and say, hey, you got a spot for me on the team again. That's the idea. I mean, you saw it with with Jimmy Witt, Arkansas, SMU, Arkansas. I know Muss wasn't here when that happened, but the doors should always be open when you have a prior relationship with the kid, because you never know when it could come ringing again, Phil.
Breeden RV wants to wish you happy holidays. Go meet Breeden in Van Buren on Alma Highway. They got the year-end clearance sale continuing, and they'll help you take your holiday stress away with a new or used RV, and you can pick your deal. So Breeden will either pay your sales tax or give you 6 months no payments, holiday cash back perhaps, or give you more for your trade. The deal that works best for you works for Breeden RV as well. And, of course, every new RV comes with their sweet, exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV, Alma Highway in Van Buren, also at BreedenRVs.com. Clay Henry, the one and only from Hogs Illustrated, coming up next as halftime continues on a Tuesday. Stick around.
More halftime in just a moment.
Right now, at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith, they are giving the Chevy employee discount to everyone. You heard that right. Chevy employee discount for everyone on all remaining 2019 models in stock and select 2020 models. You cannot afford to miss out on this opportunity at Orr Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2019 Silverado for up to $13,000 off. Or how about a 2020 Spark for as low as $169 a month with approved credit? Or Chevrolet has the 2020 Equinox up to $6,000 off. Plus, with any new vehicle sold, Or Chevy will give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. Find new roads and get the Chevy employee discount at the River Valley's favorite, Or Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive, under the giant American flag, and always open 24/7 online at OrChevyFS.com.
Attention Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members. Do you need a better internet provider? One who treats you like a member and not a number? Then check out our new fiber internet services from Wave Rural Connect. We are bringing state-of-the-art, high-speed fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. If you are an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative member, go to waveruralconnect.com to sign up. That's waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Arts Barbecue Burgers and More wants to help you feed your family this holiday season. Have the pros at Arts smoke or deep fry your turkey or ham. Arts has affordable packages available for any size family or crowd. Or drop off your turkey or ham, and we will take it from there. Arts Barbecue Burgers and More is much more than their famous barbecue and burgers. During the holiday season, let Arts cater everything, from breakfast to dessert. Arts Barbecue Burgers and More, next to Aaron's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
I think you love that car more than you love me.
Oh, how can you say that?
You hand wash it, you hand wax it, you listen to the same music.
Pure coincidence.
I just hope your insurance company feels the same way about it as you do.
They do. I'm one happy camper.
Maybe that's the reason so many people come to Shelter for their car insurance. We have great agents who are nuts about cars. We're competitively priced, and our claims people are fast, fair, and friendly. To find an agent near you, go to shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter agents Ted McAvoy or Jeff Clark about a free insurance review.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your number one Arkansas fan.
This is ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Jones drives inside, finger roll, goes and one. Jones had an avenue to the basket, drew the contact from Armstrong, got it to go. The lead's 14, and Mason's headed to the free throw line.
We appreciate Clay Henry joining us one day earlier than usual. The day before National Signing Day, the one and only Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated and Whole Hog Sports joining us right now on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Good afternoon, Clay. What's going on in your world today?
Well, I'm good. How about you guys? It's the last we talked, I was headed duck hunting, so it's I got my duck hunting done.
What'd you catch? How many?
How many did I catch? Unfortunately, we killed them. We didn't catch them.
Well, that's what I meant. You obviously are talking to somebody that's never shot a gun before.
Yeah, we shot some, and I don't think we limited out, but it was they were good hunts and almost all greenheads. So that's the goal, is to shoot the mallard drakes, and we did. And then they cooked them up. We had duck appetizers, and it was all good. And then some fried chicken, and the next night some fried catfish, and it's you get treated pretty good at Steel Wings Duck Club. I'll tell you that much.
Clay, you've got a band before over years of duck hunting?
We did get a band that day. Jay Houck, who's the farm superintendent, he kept that band, and I have shot one with the band, and I gave it to David St. John, who's the world champion duck caller. That was a couple of years ago. So that was a great thrill to shoot one with the band and then give it to someone. And he's usually the guide gives them to his clients, and I wanted to make sure he got one. So that was a lot of fun for me.
You're going to have to take me along one of these times, Clay. Look, I've lived in the state of Arkansas for almost 19 years. And I'm connected to some pretty, some sports programs that people care about a lot. The couple of things I've not done in this state, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but here we are in a radio program doing exactly that. I've never fished in the state of Arkansas, and I've never gone hunting. I'm not really a hunter, as I said earlier. I've never shot a gun before, but I feel like this is my home. Arkansas is my home. I think I'm accepted as an Arkansan. But I'd be more accepted if I ever went duck hunting and went fishing in this state.
You are one of us, Phil. We've claimed you. You are a state treasure. I mean, it's if you broadcast Razorback games, you are a state treasure. So we're your voice is highly recognizable. And I'll take you on trout stream anytime you want to go if you want to do that. I live on the North Fork River. You knew that. So we'll do that. John Neighbors started clamoring for a duck trip, and I don't really care to spend any more time with him.
You don't want to take him, Clay. Yeah, don't take him.
So you're welcome. You two are welcome, and then we'll send pictures. In fact, I'll send you some pictures of the ducks later when we're off the air. We'll send pictures to John and say we wish you were here. Of course, that'd be a lie. We're glad he wouldn't be there.
That's what I've been looking at.
There's no doubt that there is so much in our state that is special that and I'm lucky to have friends that have places that they want to take me, and we've enjoyed that through the years. And I guess my wife Jean Ann she grew up in Arkansas County in DeWitt, so duck hunting was a way of life. So she kind of understands the men are going to go duck hunting. So, and I think it's also her way of knowing that I always see the bills climb when I'm off duck hunting to kind of get where I'm going there. So it's her chance to do some things too. So it all works out.
That's right. Everybody gets their own time.
Y'all want to talk about something besides shooting ducks, don't you?
Well, I wanted to ask. So, I mean, we're hunting now. They're hunting recruits. They're hunting an offensive coordinator.
They are.
And won't get into recruiting too much with you here because for me it's just the raw numbers of 6 commits right now. And even if you get a couple more or 3 or 4 more in the next day or two, I mean, still the numbers just don't look good for Arkansas. So what you got to do is you got to find the right offensive coordinator right now. And I know, for Sam Pittman, I'm sure his head's on a swivel with trying to talk with these kids and interview coaches at the same time. But getting the right hire at OC is about as important as it gets right now.
Yeah, and I mean, you heard some names, but I haven't heard anything that I feel is about ready to pop. I mean, they're short on quarterbacks. Well, until they got an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, they're not going to have a quarterback. In this early signing period, doesn't look like. They're usually, those are the guys that are recruiting the quarterbacks, the coordinators and the quarterback coach. And it might be one and the same. You might be hiring one guy that does both. And they're usually got somebody in tow, right, that they know. And then, are they back in the position, if they don't get one in the next, 5 weeks, then they're back in the situation of hunting the portal. And that didn't work out very good for Arkansas last year. I mean, it's the 2 graduate transfers that just didn't work out. So, that's the big hire. I mean, it's it looks like that they've hired a great offensive line coach. They've got defensive coordinator. It looks like Justin Stepp is going to be on staff as a wide receiver coach. So that's fallen in place nicely. But you've got the next big hire and the big chunk of money going with it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this OC hire is huge, Clay. We're speaking with Clay Henry of Hawks Illustrated on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Clay, a name that I haven't necessarily seen surfaced when it comes to being linked to Arkansas, but I'm wondering your take. I think you have somewhat of a relationship with them. Do you think Garrick McGee would have any reason to come back and coach quarterbacks, maybe even OC at Arkansas? Could you see that happening at all?
Yeah, I mean, it could possibly happen, and I've seen Garrick at the Missouri game the last couple of years, talk to him. He worked with quarterbacks at Missouri. I mean, I think you saw that the listing is wide receiver coach, but he spent a lot of time with the quarterbacks, and that Dooley was, that CEO offensive coordinator, and he depended on Garrick to polish the passing game. And I'm pretty sure Taylor Powell's told me that Garrick worked with him, so he's been there, done that as far as Arkansas quarterbacks. He definitely had a hand in the development of Mallett and Ryan Mallett and Tyler Wilson, and they both, by the way, Mallett duck hunted with us last week, and he speaks highly of Garrick. So I think that possibly could happen. I've always been a fan of Garrick and knew him all the way back to his Booker T days and knew his dad real well.
Clay, I know that Clint Sterner has voiced his opinion that he would talk about coaching quarterbacks. I know we've seen Chris Gregg voice his opinion about wanting to coach tight ends. What is your opinion when it comes to former players who don't necessarily have a lot of experience in the coaching profession, want to try and go back to their alma mater and coach for Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it the same way as, say, when I hear Deion Sanders is going to get back in it and he's going to do this or that. It doesn't, it doesn't have a great ring to it. And I think that what you really have to have is experience on the road in recruiting. And it's, I think that Clint's worked with quarterbacks, and he's had camps, and he's motivated in that coaching area. But the idea that he's going to go on the road and the evaluation process and then being in the homes to close deals, you're putting a lot of, I guess it's kind of dicey is what I would call it, is to go that route. And I would want a proven recruiter, especially at that position, because I think quarterback's the most important position on the field, and it's got to be a guy that has been on the road recruiting and understands the relationship with parents and the ability to close in the living room. So I'd be surprised if that's where they go, but I mean, sometimes all you need is a chance.
Clay, thanks, man. We got to run. We're up against the break. 5 minutes of hunting, 5 minutes of football. Pretty good interview.
All right,
thanks
we split
again.
it up just
You got
right,
it.
guys. Okay. We're going to get you on a river sometime, Phil.
Well, I'm going with you and nobody else. That makes sense to me.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Bye, guys.
Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. So I saw that Auburn's running back coach happens to be the one and only Cadillac Williams. So that's one of the former best players in that school's history. But you know what? Where he started his coaching career?
I think you might know.
Henderson State University,
Reddies.
then the University of West Georgia. Then he went to coach at IMG Academy. And then, only then, did he join Auburn as their running back coach. Got to start somewhere, and it's usually not in the SEC. Brought to you by Road Chevrolet. They want you to get over there and get home a new car or truck from Road Chevy. They got employee discounting all month long for everybody. Remaining 2019 Silverado Z71 Crew Cabs up to $15,000 off, and the new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox up to $6,000 off. That's Road Chevrolet, exit 2A off I-540 in Van Buren. RoadChevrolet.com. Back after this.
Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
In the moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In the moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith. Just call 484-9888. And Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren. Call 474-9888 and online KohlerGreen.com.
Can you hear that? Is it Santa?
Well, I know. It's David Neal at Road Chevrolet inviting you to take home your new car or truck from Road Chevy. It's employee discounts for all month long. Our remaining 2019 Silverado Z71 Crew Cabs up to $15,000 off. Or the new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox up to $6,000 off. Don't wait. They'll be gone in a wink. Road Chevrolet exit 2A off of I-540 in Van Buren. That's RHODES Chevy.com. Find new roads.
See dealer for details. This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Contact them at 479-997-2366 or at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas from Frank Rowe Furniture.
Here at Frank Rowe Furniture, for the month of December, is offering no sales tax and free delivery. What a wonderful gift for Christmas to our customers. We carry many made-in-the-USA products, including Catnap, Best Home Furnishings, Union Furniture, Affordable Furniture, and Speed Queen Laundry. We offer several financing options, including in-house, no-credit check financing. Merry Christmas from Frank Rowe Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Frank Rowe Furniture. Best seats in the house.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the chicken pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Hogs run the floor. Cheney at the other end lays it in. Boy, the Hog big men are just outrunning the Roadrunners down the floor. It's a 5-point Razorback lead.
Great job, Reggie Cheney. The Hogs have not been getting that from the other guys. He's hustling down the floor.
I went into that last break talking about Cadillac Williams at Auburn, and started his coaching career at Henderson, University West Georgia, IMG Academy. That was part of an internship program that the NFL Players Association has going on to try to kickstart coaching careers. So, and I know, didn't Clint Sterner put out a tweet or say something to the effect that, he feels he could work with college quarterbacks? Now, I know Clint is somebody that's worked with quarterbacks a lot, high school quarterbacks specifically.
Jacoby Criswell is one of them.
There you go. But it's a different situation when you're doing it inside the context of a coaching staff instead of your one-on-ones with kids. That's a different thing. And it's not to say that Clint can't do it, because he can break things down. I thought he did a great job on the SEC network as an analyst. I haven't heard his talk show in Houston, but there's something about him that tells me that I think eventually he will be able to turn to coaching. The only thing is, it is so rare that your first job is with a Power 5 school. Mm-hmm. You got to start somewhere, and usually you start at the ground floor. And although Arkansas right now is the ground floor of the SEC, it's not the ground floor of where coaches start their college coaching careers.
I think it's like any other job where you have to, what you're saying, pay your dues. That's just a part of it. Now, some people, it's very rare, but they've been able to jump straight to a Power 5 job as an assistant or something like that. But most of the time, you see coaches either start at a small Division I level, D2, high school, or wherever, and then slowly but surely, they're a good coach. They make their way. I just think it would be asking a lot for not just Clint, but any other former Razorback player to just hop in to their old position role as a coach. It's not an easy thing to do. And especially at a time like this where you need all hands on deck, you need every bit of luck to go your way. If I'm Sam Pittman, I'm not trusting my specific name position, whatever it was, fill in the blank, to a guy that's never necessarily coached at the Division I level before, much less the SEC West. Like you're saying, recruiting's not an easy thing to do. You have to, and that is a huge integral part of being an assistant coach is, can you recruit? It's a major part of that. And I know that Clint Sterner obviously has his name out there, Darren McFadden, you can say Chris Gratt, and others that have voiced their opinion, hey, I'd like to potentially coach, but there's just a whole lot of things that go into that part of the job, Phil.
So you're going to have to recruit the kids in the state too, right? I mean, that's one thing Sam Pittman talked about, recruiting your own players, and I think he more meant the guys who are on the team right now, meaning current Razorbacks, but you got to have to. Didn't every coach talk about building a fence around the state and trying to keep your best in-state talent here? Well, so much for that this season, right, Ty? You got Jacoby Criswell. I keep calling him Jacoby. Yeah. Jacoby Criswell heading to North Carolina. That will become official tomorrow. And I get to my correct webpage here. Many other.
Robert Scott out of Conway going to Ole Miss. Chris Morris, who was in Memphis, transferred to West Memphis. I don't know if you necessarily counted that as an in-state kid because he's just playing his senior year in Arkansas. He's going to A&M. So, Phil, if you look at it, 3 of your top 5 in-state kids are going elsewhere. And, again, I brought this up, and I'll show you this stat because I feel like I've just said this before, but when you look at the talent gap Arkansas is lacking in football, just to put this in perspective.
And you mean the state as a whole, right?
Correct, yeah, and I'm talking about football. Basketball-wise, you're good. You got some basketball talent in the state. Football, not so much. Alabama has 16 4-stars. Florida has 57. Georgia has 33. Kentucky has 4. Louisiana has 16. Mississippi has 5. Missouri has 4. South Carolina has 4. Tennessee has 11. And Texas has 50. Now, I know some of the schools that I just listed, they're competing with other, not only schools in their state, but other SEC teams in the state. Arkansas has 2, and you're not getting either of them. That's a very difficult thing to overcome when you're at your current state in the football program right now. You hope the in-state talent develops and get better, and I don't know if it's trending in that direction because of kind of the leniency towards basketball, baseball, and people, not as many people, not just in Arkansas, but across the United States playing football. So that's a difficult situation for a coach to navigate and build a program back when the influx of in-state talent is nothing compared to the other states that he's competing against.
Well, and that's why you want a guy like a Sam Pittman-like recruiter to bring kids in from elsewhere that would never look at Arkansas unless it's the absolute right coach. And I don't remember where all of them are from, but I know that the line that Pittman helped build during his first tenure at Arkansas, working under Brett Bielema, I mean, he got kids from all over the country. He got kids from all over the country. And look, I understand you're going to have a lot of kids from Arkansas on this team, and you should. And so you need somebody that can coach them up and turn, these are so it's an inexact science. We know that when it comes to recruiting. 3-star, 4-star, it doesn't always play itself out on the football field. But you got to be able to coach up the kids that you have in this state that do come to play for you here, and then find some sort of pipeline, some kind of pipeline, whether it's finding kids from Florida that 50 in-state 4-stars. Some of them are not all of them are going to play for the Florida schools. Not all of them are going to end up going to Georgia or playing at Alabama or Clemson. Maybe you get a couple of kids from there. Maybe you're able to rebuild the recruiting ties in Texas. Maybe you can find – look, Missouri to the north. Missouri's actually got a decent fertile ground for recruits, and it's a big state with lots of kids that play football too. You just don't seem to care about Missouri too much, about the University of Missouri. You got to find ways to get these kids in here, and that's also what makes Arkansas a bit of a challenging job compared to some of the others, because you just don't have that groundswell of football talent here. And then, you do watch. Look, you saw this in the Big 12 championship game. Who's quarterbacking Baylor? Gary Bohannon, kid from Earl, Arkansas. So that's one instance right there of letting a 3-star recruit get out of the state, and maybe he just wanted to go play at Baylor for this reason or that. But there are kids from the state of Arkansas that end up going somewhere else and finding success. The trick, I guess, with the kids in state is getting the best ones to stay here. And it just seems to be easier said than done.
Or the ones that want to come to Arkansas that are talented enough you give them scholarship. Who was the Clemson safety, now linebacker out of Kansas City that we talked about months ago that ran like a 4.4 at that camp in front of Bielema? Said, I'll sign,
right.
I'll commit, or I'll sign now if you give me a scholarship. And Bielema said, we don't have a place for you. I know that's since been through 2 coaching regimes that's passed over Brett Bielema and Chad Morris, but you can't miss on guys like that. And I think the combination, there's very rare, unless you have a father, a mother, or you just grew up a fan like Sam Pittman did outside of the state. What ends up happening in Arkansas is you have kids that come from outside the state that are drawn into the program, that like the facilities, that like the campus, that like not as much tradition because you don't see that as much as kids today, but they blend in with some of the lesser talented kids that grew up in Arkansas but loved the Razorbacks their entire life, born and bred Hog fans. And that combination, what happens over time, and I know Houston Nutt talked about this on the Hog Pod, is their love for the Razorbacks, the in-state kids, it gets passed on to the out-of-state kids that maybe are a little more talented, but they learn to live and breathe it. it becomes a part of them. And that happens not only at Arkansas, but at other out-of-state schools as well, where you have a lot of these in-state kids who are born and raised whatever fan, and then they incorporate with some of the out-of-state kids, and they get into those rooms together and stuff, and they realize how much that these teams mean to one another. And that's, I think, what happens a lot of time at Arkansas. So you hope that you can have that combination where Sam Pittman can go get some of these more talented players outside of Arkansas and bridge them together with some of these in-state kids that have wanted to be Razorbacks their entire life.
Well, look, it's a chance for you to play in the big leagues of college football, but if you take that comparison from professional to college sports, then Alabama would be the New York Yankees, then Georgia would be the Los Angeles Dodgers, Florida would be the Boston Red Sox. I mean, these are teams that can afford to swing and miss on a four-star recruit that doesn't pan out because they've got a litany of other four-star recruits that are ready to step in. They can afford to miss on a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 recruits. At Arkansas, you can't miss. When you get a kid that's a four-star, they have to perform at that level. I know you want to get the 2 stars to perform like 4 stars, 3 stars to perform like 4 stars. Maybe that's a case of coaching them up. I just don't know if it happens enough to be able to make up the difference between being the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees.
And I'll give you a prime example before we go to break. Joe Burrow talked about Nebraska, and I'm forgetting the other school that he wanted to play for that he grew up idolizing, and they didn't think he was good enough. Who's laughing now? And that's why he was so emotional about Ed Orgeron, the state of Louisiana, and the reception he had for LSU during his Heisman because they gave him a chance, and look what happened. LSU didn't miss on that kid. You hope Arkansas has one of those guys these next few years, Phil.
Carr from Lavaca reminding us about KJ Hill, Michael Dyer. Yeah, we remember a lot about that. Absolutely. We'll be back with the second hour. Get with us at 877-377-6963. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline on halftime, and we're back after this.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine and Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
We wish you happy holidays from Breeden RV in Van Buren, where the year-end clearance sale continues. The holidays can be stressful. Why not take that stress away with the newer used RV? We'll even jingle your bells by letting you pick your deal. Sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, more for your trade. You choose the deal that's best for you. Remember, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Thanks, Eddie. Come see us on Alma Highway in Van Buren or visit us on the web at BreedenRV.com.
See dealer for details.
Landowners, it's time for special year-end savings on Mahindra tractors. Enjoy 0% interest or save thousands of dollars. Plus, your Mahindra dealer can show you how to get tax savings on rugged Mahindra tractors. So hurry into your Mahindra dealer. Your local Mahindra dealer is Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma. 0% APR financing available for a limited time only. See us or go to MahindraUSA.com for more information.
The biggest discounts ever during the end-of-year sales event at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. 2019 GMC Sierra Denali's. The biggest savings ever. Up to $16,000 off. Only $52,335. The 2020 GMC Terrain. Slashed to $21,999. And the 2019 Buick Encore. The lowest price ever. Only $16,999. The biggest savings ever during the end-of-year sales event at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
We have drier weather settling in behind our cold front. Colder air coming in too. Our low dropping to the low 20s north, upper 20s further south. Watch for patchy slick spots out there on the roads. Sunny throughout our Tuesday, the high from the low to mid 40s. Sunny and near 50 on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Coach Pittman, you got something to say?
Yeah, I do.
Go Hogs!
Yes,
sir!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
It is my pleasure to offer you the opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo Pig Suey.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Get into the second hour, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, and you get with us on the Cherokee Casino hotline with a call or a text, 877-377-6963. Bill Qualls was in with us here asking about, he heard anything about a kid named Mike Powell from Clarksville, a football player on both sides of the line, a 5A school, and apparently has an Arkansas offer. So I hadn't heard about him yet, but maybe that's somebody we'll be hearing from. Shane in Alma thinks that there are more kids in the state that can play big-time football than what we think. And I will say that the talent evaluators on a lot of the sites that pay attention to recruiting, much more so than we do, they say otherwise. And I think, the numbers do show that there are fewer SEC, the word caliber, would that be right? Caliber players in the state of Arkansas than any of the other states that have an SEC school.
Well, I think what Shane's, like so many other Arkansas fans, they're tied down to what they see on Friday nights. They're tied down to friends, family, and they want to believe that some of the talent in Arkansas can compete with other talents in the SEC. And we've seen that with certain players. But when you talk about across the board, Shane, it's not a contest. Like, you can't compete with just in-state talent in Arkansas and expect to win or even come close to winning the SEC. Now, in other states, you can. That's just how it is. That's what you have. That's the uphill battle that you have as the Arkansas head coach. Your in-state talent, football-wise, does not match the other SEC schools. Now, you're the it dog. You're the guy in the state. It's Arkansas or nothing. A-State and UCA, they're afterthoughts, but you just don't have as much talent to choose from when it comes to recruiting football guys to the University of Arkansas.
Shane pointed to a couple of kids from Fayetteville that went to Missouri. Taylor Powell, and I think there are three actually there. Barrett Bannister is another wide receiver in his sophomore year, and the other
Keel Byers.
Defensive lineman, 6'4", 280. So there's three that are playing for SEC schools. Powell, I don't know if Powell did all that much this year. He'll have a chance next season, I guess, to step in with Eli Drinkwitz, and I guess we'll find out whether or not he's an SEC caliber quarterback. All right, but quarterback is the topic of conversation for right now. And if you know that I'm a fan of reading The Athletic. I try to at least read a couple of columns in that every day. So Max Olson, who covers college football at The Athletic, researched quarterback movement. Not footwork, not movement inside or outside the pocket, but movement from school to school. And, I mean, let's just call this what it is. It's college football free agency. And there's no position that seems to move more on like a per capita basis than quarterbacks. At the very moment, there are 49 Division I quarterbacks. I mean FBS. quarterbacks that are in the 2020 transfer portal. 2 of them came from Arkansas. One of them was a wide receiver for a minute, Dalton Hyatt. The other was Nick Starkel. And then there's a ton of others that are looking for an opportunity to compete and play because they feel that they didn't get that sort of shake where they are right now. And then there's also the case of like a Jake Bentley or Felipe Franks, who in Franks' case got injured in a gruesome way and then lost his starting job and got Wally pipped by Kyle Stark. Do you know what Wally Pipp is? Do you know what I'm talking about, Ty?
You've talked about this on the program before, and I'm blanking. I'm not going to push the generational gap because I know you've mentioned this before. But
so to get Wally pipped, Wally Pipp was the first baseman for the Yankees before Lou Gehrig, right? And then one day Pipp wasn't feeling well. Gehrig steps in, plays first base, and Pipp never played first base for the Yankees again because that was freaking Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that's what I mean when I say you got Wally pipped. You got overtaken by your backup and you never saw the field again.
Yeah, because Bentley got overtaken by Helinski, and then you mentioned Kyle Trask. So you have 2 guys that, especially Trask is kind of an interesting conundrum because he was passed over by McElwain. I think he was the guy that never started in high school, played backup.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
First of all, how do you get to the University of Florida as a quarterback when you never even were a starter in high school? How does that happen?
Blows my mind, but he waits his turn and had a pretty productive year for Dan Mullen and the Gators, and then Helinski comes in and plays better than Bentley. And I think there was a lot of people questioning if Bentley was going to be the guy this year, and then the injury happens, Helinski looks better, and he just decided it was out the door. But those would be 2 intriguing guys, and it just, again, we mentioned in the first hour, you got to know who your OC is. You can't get a quarterback. You can't get a senior, fifth-year senior on this campus. They're not going to come unless they know who the offensive coordinator is. The pitch, there's no pitch unless the OC's in place. You can say that you could say this is what we want to do on offensive, but until they can look their offensive coordinator or their potential new offensive coordinator in the eyes and talk to him about certain aspects of their football and their team, you have no shot at any of these guys. That has to happen first, and hopefully, as Sam Pittman said, it happens within the week.
Casey in Ozark also, he says Michael Jordan also had a hard time in high school. Wasn't that as a sophomore? I mean, he was still pretty good for a couple years there in high school.
And there's this misconception out there, Phil, that he was cut from it. He was just put on JV as a sophomore, which is not like out of the realm. Like a lot of high school basketball players across the country as sophomores played JV.
He started at some point, yes. Yeah. He definitely started.
And him and his high school coach and Dean Smith had to limit him when it comes to shooting and number of shots. And then he got to the NBA and it just went berserk for Doug Collins. And I don't remember who their old Bulls coach was before Phil Jackson, but they just would shoot at will once he got to the NBA.
So Franks apparently has visited Kansas, and I kind of wondered if Franks might actually just give up football after that gruesome injury, because if I remember correctly, I thought the New York Mets might have shown some interest in him as a pitcher. 6'6", 215-pound pitcher coming from way over top. Not a bad idea. And it's a lot safer of a sport to play.
There's
but that's
still pushing the baseball agenda.
It's neither here nor there. Joey Gatewood's already chosen Kentucky. You mentioned Bentley's going to Utah, one of 2 quarterbacks that Utah has transferring over from other Division I schools. So, I mean, there are these quarterbacks out there to choose from, and you only have 3 in the room right now, so you're going to have to go out and get somebody. But get a load of this, too. So Olson did the research, and this is from the 2014 through 2017 classes, so that's a 4-year sample. He looked at the top 50 high school quarterbacks from those 4 years that went to a Division I school. 57% of those 50 quarterbacks transferred from their first school. Only 20% of those quarterbacks started a game in their first 2 years, and that's where things break. If you start a game in each of your first 2 years or either one of your first 2 years, you've got much more of a case to stick around at that school than leave. So he also looked at the 200 quarterbacks that signed with a Division I college team from 2014 through 2017. And because of position switches or injuries or retirement or just exhausting eligibility, they were down to 159 quarterbacks. 97 of them transferred. That's well over 50% of the 159 college quarterbacks that came in as a true freshman from 2014 through 2017. So, I mean, this whole deal with Jacoby Criswell, and I'm not making a prediction Criswell is going to be a Razorback at some point, but I will say I would be very surprised if Criswell sticks at North Carolina for his entire 4 years. That's just based on the numbers and on the fact that he's got a true freshman in front of him in Sam Howell, who set the school record with 35 passing touchdowns. Maybe Mac Brown is going to redshirt Criswell. That would seem to make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And now that you can play in 4 games, I don't see why you don't. If he doesn't, I mean, then Howell's the guy for the next 3 years. So they're going to need Criswell to redshirt, and then he might have a 2-year period where he can start if he sticks around, and that's a big if these days in Division I college football.
Yeah.
Halftime is brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. It is early for the weekend, but hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, if you want to get off work today, get you an ice-cold Coors Light at your favorite bar. It's not going to get colder than Coors Light. Cold filtered, cold lagered, cold package. It's the world's coldest and most refreshing beer. The beer you taste that comes out of that ice-cold Coors Light can is as cold as the Rockies, and when the mountains turn blue, you always go for 2. Coors Light, made to chill.
All right, we'll come back after the break. Your calls and texts throughout the show, 877-377-6963 on the Cherokee Casino Hotline, and Halftime is back right after this.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com. This is the Morning Rush.
So let's go to the Cherokee Casino Hotline and welcome in the head coach of the Razorback football team, Sam Pittman.
The difference in me and maybe anybody else, recruiting is going to have a high emphasis in this program, and it's the only way you can change what you have. And again, I'm proud of what we have. We just need to add to the roster.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
We wish you happy holidays from Breeden RV in Van Buren, where the year-end clearance sale continues. The holidays can be stressful. Why not take that stress away with the newer used RV? We'll even jingle your bells by letting you pick your deal. Sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, more for your trade. You choose the deal that's best for you. Remember, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Thanks, Eddie. Come see us on Elma Highway in Van Buren or visit us on the web at BreedenRV.com.
See dealer for details.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all: crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
If you want a compact tractor that's the best value for your dollar, visit Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma and ask about the Workmaster Series compact tractors from Newhall. They are powered by reliable, clean-running engines and are backed by Boomer Guard 5, the best in-class 5-year limited warranty. Not only are they built tough, they are comfortable to operate and gives you a great view from the roomy, open platform. See a Newhall and Workmaster compact tractor today at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma. They're the best value for your dollar.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith. Just call 484-9888. And Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren. Call 474-9888. And online, KohlerGreen.com.
You know, they say that money doesn't grow on trees, but that's not true at Randall Ford. Right now, Randall Ford has its very own money tree, and it only blooms during the month of December. For every new vehicle purchased between now and the end of the year, you have a chance to snag one of the prizes off our Randall Ford money tree, which can be worth up to $500 in cold hard cash. So hurry on into Randall Ford, pick out a brand new shiny vehicle, and take your special prize off of our money tree.
Protection with possibilities. Have past losses made you cautious about taking on risk with your investments? Are you concerned that your savings are not generating the returns you need? If you are interested in protecting your money and capturing potential investment growth, contact Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors at 242-7466 or ufadvisors.net to see whether market-linked CDs may be the right solution for you.
Securities and advisory service offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA, SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Beard, Gafford, buckle up! Oh, we've seen it before and we see it again.
Back on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. I am remiss to keep Blake on hold for as long as I did. He's on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He's in Hot Springs. Blake, can you forgive me for putting you on hold for that long? I didn't see you'd called in.
It's all right. I do.
All right, then it's all yours. Take over.
I just wanted to call in and touch on a few things that I rarely hear talked about on Arkansas Sports Radio. One is character and the other is intelligence. I think that if a kid goes through high school football and, is talented enough to file with the NCAA clearinghouse to be available for a scholarship offer to be recruited, I think that their physical capabilities and their talent is obviously on par. It may not be the best, but it's on par. To me, the determining factor, and particularly things that I think Coach Pittman would want to look at, are character and intelligence. That's the kind of thing that you can build on. Kids that can have the kind of upward trajectory, even though they might be a two-star recruit, they're going to be the kind of kids that are going to stay academically eligible, not going to get penalties on the field, and they're going to work. And, whether it be in the locker room, in the community, their home life, the kinds of habits that they have, drugs, alcohol, pregnant girlfriends, this kind of thing, those are the kind of kids you want to build your program with. And the other thing that I would say to Coach Pittman is to start to look to, especially on the offensive and defensive line, big kids that are also in wrestling programs as far as recruiting for your line.
That's an interesting point to make, Blake, because, what is offensive line? What is line play? It's essentially, it's wrestling. You're just not allowed to grip them like that. So I think that's an interesting point to make. That's one area you got to just be. So, to your point about, kids' football IQ and makeup and just the kind of person that they are, that's the kind of thing that you're going to learn from sitting in a house with this kid and getting to know him on a personal level. And you can see how intelligent they are in the football field sometimes during a game, but until you sit down and speak with them, I don't think you really get that sense. And recruiting in a state like Arkansas, you have to be mindful of that sort of IQ ability. And then if you're going to be creative in recruiting, looking for good wrestlers would be one way to build an offensive line. And I don't mean to laugh, because I think you make a fairly valid point of finding some diamond in the rough somewhere and getting a good lineman out of it.
Well, not even a diamond in the rough necessarily. Just a good floor of we can count on these kids. They're not going to be a problem. There's not going to be penalties. There's not going to be arrests. There's not going to be drug use. There's not going to be alcohol. There's not going to be all the things that distract away from what a football coach wants to see and wants to get done when he's in practice, on the field, that kind of thing. I'm originally from the state of Iowa, and we're kind of in the same boat as Arkansas is about football talent. And they've made their money and gotten a lot of NFL draftees just by recruiting those kind of kids that, there's not going to be any problems. And they're going to play football, but it's not their life. They're not gambling. They're there because they want to work, because they care about, the program, their image, the guys that they're in the locker room with, things that are talked about, the focus of their life, they're centered. And, it's the same way with the NFL franchises. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the 1970s, obviously the Patriots the last 15 years, the 49ers, the 80s and the 90s. They didn't have a bunch of, fastest in the NFL guys or the ones with the biggest mouths. They just had a bunch of guys that they could count on, and that's why they were successful.
Well, I would be a little bit careful comparing some of the stuff that the Patriots have had as far as character is concerned, but you know what they have? They have coachable players, and that's also what I think character brings. Is you end up, and Blake, appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much. And we have a text here from one of our halftimers. It makes a good point. Sean in Greenwood says, was it Sean in Greenwood? Yes, he said character does not score points. Well, that's true, but character is coachable usually. That's somebody that doesn't think they have all the answers, that looks to someone with more experience and who's got the title of coach to actually listen to said coach and maybe get better because of that coach.
Bill, what have I told you before about on-the-field talent? Typically leads to off-the-field issues. That's just across the board. And I to Blake's point, you're just not going to have non-drug use. You're not going to have non-alcohol use. That's just a part of collegiate sports and NFL. That's just it's not necessarily a pipe dream. You can narrow it down and slow it down and bring it down as much as possible with a good, clean program and stuff like that. But that's just it happens. Like, it's just part of it. Even if you have a really well-oiled machine or a really good football team, they'd have Nick Saban has to deal with that. And Alabama's been the most successful college football program that we've ever seen, and he still has to deal with that on a monthly basis. That's just you can't ask that because it doesn't happen. And to your point about Iowa, I think there are some similarities, Blank, between Iowa and Arkansas in terms of the programs, kind of the tradition. I would say the one thing is Iowa has to compete against Iowa State, and that's a little more difficult since Matt Campbell's done a pretty good job in Ames, and I know Kurt Ferentz has a lifetime contract there. But asking like good kids, I know you want good kids in the program, but that doesn't lead to wins. Like, having good, wholesome kids in the Arkansas football program doesn't always lead to wins. I know that at least the board of trustees, Hunter Yurachek, and everyone else wants the appearance of molding good young men. Chad Morris was a good man, but he didn't win football games. That's why he got canned. That's the issue that I think people go back and forth on, not only within the state but everyone else, is they want a guy in charge who has a good moral compass, but you also got to win games, dude. Like, that's a big part of it. Phil, you know that a lot more than I do. Been alive a lot longer. That's college football, man. That's just a part of it. You want both. It's hard to find a guy that can do both.
That's true. You want somebody who's got character and talent, but I will say, I think when push does come to shove and you're trying to build a roster that's capable of competing in the SEC, first you're looking at the talent, and then you're going to get to know that kid. And also keep in mind, 17-year-olds with character are still 17-year-olds. I might have had character at the age of 17, but I also had no real life experience, and I was a little bit of a goofball too. I was coachable, by the way, as a baseball player, but banking on the character of a 17-year-old teenager is going to get you into trouble sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I do think you make a point that's well taken. But then again, there was the case of – wasn't there the case of, like, this trio out of Memphis that's going to sign with Tennessee?
Yeah, French, all those guys.
The rumors were – and I guess we can throw it out there since we're just a radio program. The rumors is that one of them was caught stealing while they were on campus at their official visit. So, from that point, if that's the truth, if that was the case – and they were told, and he was told, you're not the kind of player that we need here, Does that mean it's going to end up as Tennessee's problem?
Yeah. Sean from Greenwood texted on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Phil, he said, character only matters when you're losing. And I think that's a perfect bridge into what I'm about to say. I want you to find a radio bit. I want you to find an article. I want you to find a TV spot where during the time of Bobby Petrino from 2010 to 2011, when the Arkansas football program was at its highest point in years, I want you to find a character issue flaw. I want you to find someone in Arkansas sports media that talked about character being a question mark of this football team. You won't find it because they were winning, because the football program was incredible at the time. That doesn't matter unless you're losing. And it's people say, oh, character's the biggest thing when it comes to this next football coach, this next basketball coach.
When did the Ryan Mallett Scantron thing go down?
I don't remember. Apparently,
was that while Petrino was the coach?
Yes. So, I mean, it's just one of the states where, like, you say it matters. It doesn't. It doesn't really matter. And I know that we all want to think that we're morally acceptable, we're morally right, and that we have good standing in the world. But at the end of the day, even if you have a really nice guy, a really good man as a football coach, and he can't find a way to win on Saturdays, you don't really care about that aspect. Now, you'll take a Bobby Petrino. You took him at the time, and he wasn't like a good man. But that's okay because he won football games, Phil. Like, you just won't find an article, a TV spot, a radio bit questioning Bobby Petrino's. Now, you'll do it after. People are so willing to talk about it after because he's no longer the coach. They're no longer winning. You can touch on it after, but you can't touch on it during their winning. You can't touch on it when they're one of the most prominent college football programs in the country because that's a bad look if you're an Arkansas sports media member. So that's what you're dealing with on a daily basis, Phil.
877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. Calls and texts up until the top of the hour. And today we're brought to you by our friends at Coors Light.
Yeah, ice cold, ice filtered, cold lagered, cold packaged, cold everything. If you're going to have a beer this weekend, if you're going to have a beer after work today, get an ice cold Coors Light. It's the way to go. And you know your beer is cold. Phil and I always talk about the beer slush that comes out. You're always going to get that as Coors Light because it's as cold as it can possibly be. And Phil, when the mountains turn blue, what are you supposed to do?
Go for two.
Exactly right. Coors Light, made to chill.
All right, we'll come back. We've got some stuff involving Arkansas basketball and Los Angeles Angels manager Joe Madden. Things that you wouldn't think would go together, but they actually do go together, and it looks like the Hogs have a brand new fan out west. Stay tuned.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
Right now, at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith, they are giving the Chevy employee discount to everyone. You heard that right. Chevy employee discount for everyone on all remaining 2019 models in stock and select 2020 models. You cannot afford to miss out on this opportunity at Orr Chevrolet. Drive away in a 2019 Silverado for up to $13,000 off. Or how about a 2020 Spark for as low as $169 a month with approved credit? Orr Chevrolet has the 2020 Equinox up to $6,000 off. Plus, with any new vehicle sold, Orr Chevy will give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. Find new roads and get the Chevy employee discount at the River Valley's favorite, Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive, under the giant American flag, and always open 24/7 online at OrChevyFS.com.
Evans Body Shop would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. We truly appreciate all of our customers, staff, friends, and family for their continued support and dedication. We could not do what we do without our dedicated staff and loyal customers, and we are truly blessed. Please drive safely during this most wonderful time of the year and enjoy the moments with your loved ones. If you do find yourself in an accident, we hope you will remember us at Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
The second location for Whole Hog Cafe in Fort Smith is now open. Located on the east side of town on Phoenix Avenue, next to Dollar General and across from Interstate Batteries. Serving that award-winning Memphis-style barbecue and all your favorite sides 7 days a week from 11 till 8. Pickup orders for Whole Hog Cafe Phoenix Avenue can be placed at 646-2495 or at wholehogfortsmith.com. Whole Hog Cafe second location on Phoenix Avenue is now open.
Wave Rural Connect is bringing state-of-the-art fiber, internet, TV, and phone services right into your home. Get amazing fast fiber internet, 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for only $79.95 per month. TV packages from the basics to our amazing altered TV, starting at $32.95. Fiber phone services start at $29.95. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out if we are installing in your area, or call 1-833-4-WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Come Get You Some has been proudly serving the Fort Smith and surrounding area for over 18 years. They sell and install lift kits, wheels, tires, leveling kits, LED lights, differential gears and lockers, and so much more. They also repair vehicles as well. Do you need ball joints, tie rod ends, or just have that pesky service light on? They can help with that too. With a full selection of AN fittings, custom brake lines, and thousands of tabs and brackets in stock, they have those hard-to-find parts for the build-it-yourselfer. Come Get You Some. 2728 Towson Avenue, 479-782-6833.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Yo, Jay, hit it. Let's go.
This speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Bradley for three. Arkansas basketball. Up and down, blocking shots, stealing the ball, and making three.
I met this little girlie. Her hair was kind of curly. Went to her house and
Back on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Mentioned that there is a new Arkansas basketball fan out west. It is none other than Angels manager Joe Madden. Ty, did you see the interaction on Twitter between Madden and Eric Musselman last night? That one took me by surprise. I didn't realize that these two would come together. But hey, I think there is a new Razorback basketball fan out there in Anaheim.
Yeah, you gotta like it. It was funny because I was watching Moneyball with two of my buddies on Friday night, and they did not know that Muss has a relationship with Billy Beane because they live next to each other in California. So he's got the baseball connection. He loves a number of different things, and I'm assuming he's touched in and he's looked into some of the analytics aspect, and I think that it's kind of cool that he's just developing relationships. Like, he just seems to have so many connections across sports, and Madden seems like an additional one, Phil.
So the connection between the two now is Mark O'Neill, who took over as the head athletic trainer for Arkansas Athletics after the retirement of Dave England. And O'Neill comes from Major League Baseball, where he'd had a lengthy career, worked his way up through the Cardinals organization, and that included time spent in Little Rock as the Arkansas Travelers athletic trainer. I believe that was in the early to mid-'90s. But he got to know Madden during his time as the director of medical operations for the Chicago Cubs. So Madden, who is known for being an out-of-the-box thinker the right way, he's really good at organizational tactics and has written about a lot of this stuff. And I didn't realize that he had put together a list of what he calls 5 levels of being a pro. And this is exactly what the interaction between Coach Musselman and Madden was all about. So the original tweet comes from Muss. He says, and he's holding up a photo of a T-shirt that says Level 5. And he says, this is right out of Musselman's tweet. Our team would like to thank you for the Level 5 motivation. It's been something we talk about daily. Your Razorback men's basketball Level 5 shirt is in the mail. And Madden returns the tweet. Hey, Coach, humbled by your response to Level 5. Shall follow Razorback men's basketball very closely in the coming year. My best to the group. Hope to see you at an Angels game in 2020. Always the marketer, getting somebody out to a game. Joe Madden, I guess. So this whole Level 5 thing is pretty interesting, because you're talking about collegiate athletes, and this is Madden's list of 5 levels of being a pro. And when you think about these things, he is so right. Even in, like, when you start a new radio show, what are you doing when you're first doing the radio show? You're really happy to do it. You're happy to do it. So the first level of being a pro is I'm just happy to be here. That's like the rookie that comes up to the big leagues to get the cup of coffee is just enamored with where he is at that moment and that he's reached the pinnacle. He's just not quite sure what to do with it. So that leads to the second level, and that's I'm just trying to survive and stick around, meaning I think I might be a little bit overmatched, and I'm really nervous about how I'm performing. I got to find a way to survive and stick here because I don't want to go back to the minor leagues. The third level is I belong here and I can do this. And that's really where you can see that things change, where the professional becomes very confident about his or her ability to perform at the level that they're at, being at a big league baseball player or a radio host or a teacher or whatever. The fourth level is all about making the most money possible. And then the fifth level, which is the level that Madden wants his players on and what Musselman is trying to get all of his players to, the fifth level is all I care about is winning. The thought with that is that if all you care about is winning, then you're going to do everything that the team needs you to do, whether it's come off the bench in a certain role or learn how to drive with the other hand that you haven't done very much at all, or work your butt off in the gym so that you develop a three-point shot. In the case of Jalen Harris, I think he's done that. So or accept a lesser role. Mm-hmm. And then if all you care about is winning, then the theory then is that you've got an entire group around you that feels the same way, and then maybe that's exactly what you're doing. If all you care about is winning, the money comes, sticking around to the big leagues comes, you will survive, and you'll be happy to be there too.
And I think it would be a lot harder to deliver that and follow through on that in the professional leagues based on the money that's involved, based on it being a little more selfish of a league comparatively to college sports. I think Muss's jobs, if you just look at that perspective, I think it would be easier to get his guys motivated to win than Madden getting his guys motivated to win. Right, Phil? Is that too far of a reach?
That sounds right.
It sounds right just from like the professional college. So, I mean, you want a group of guys, and it looks like you have that so far on this basketball team because there hasn't seemed to be a lot of selfishness so far. Not too much bickering, and they found a way to win. And sometimes you can blow out Tulsa and almost score 100 points. Other times you can barely put up 60 and win the nitty-gritty way. They've shown the ability to do that, and I think it's not just Mason Jones, but a lot of these guys have bought in early on to what he's trying to preach and trying to deliver from the defensive standpoint and stuff, and you hope that just continues because they're going to have some rocky roads, some bumpy paths during SEC play when they have a stretch or two where they lose a couple games, and you hope that the response is similar to what you saw against Tulsa after the Western Kentucky loss, that they continue to push back and get better and strive to not experience that losing feeling again, Phil.
Well, I like that, and I think a lot of coaches do this, but Musselman just seems to be somebody that does look to other sports, other coaches, managers in this case, like Joe Madden, of not theories, but what works for great leaders. I think might feel could work for him wherever he is coaching. So, I mean, and sometimes there's a lot of gobbledygook out there and stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. To me, this whole 5 level of being a professional makes sense to me. It's simple, easy to understand, and it seems that the players are buying into it. So they've got this level 5 chain. You know how I am with these whole chains, like turnover chains and the garbage cans and all that kind of stuff. This is about it's not about something that you're doing in a statistical sense or a certain play that you've made. To me, this part is all about the attitude that these players have to be able to wear the quote-unquote level 5 chain. And it's interesting, the two players that have gotten it, you got your leading scorer in Mason Jones who's gotten this chain, and then there's one of the last guys off the bench in Ethan Henderson who has provided a spark at times. So it says that both of these players, and it's interesting too with Jones because there's been some thoughts here and there that maybe Jones and Coach Musselman have butted heads a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the case at all because Jones has been very complimentary of the things that Musselman has brought, and I think vice versa.
Sometimes tough love's good, Phil.
That's right, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes that's appreciated by the player who's getting the tough love directed at him. But when it's your leading scorer and one of your last guys off the bench that have bought in like that, I don't want to invent new words like this, that have bought in like that, that can only mean good things.
Since you brought that up, on the 1992 Dream Team with Michael Jordan and all the guys, Chuck Daly, who is the late Chuck Daly, who coached over Eric Musselman, that Muss is one of his former assistants. You have the fact that he was the orchestrator for the defense that Michael Jordan despised. Like those bad boy Pistons in the 89 and 90 games. I think they met in the conference finals in 90, and then in 89 they also met. He finally overcame them in 91, but he couldn't figure that defense out. Tap, the Jordan rules, all that. And what happened was so weird that Jordan bought into Daly in Barcelona. They played golf together. They had a great relationship, and it was so odd to so many people that the guy that was the orchestrator and tormented Michael Jordan years prior, they had a good friendship. And because Michael Jordan bought in, Phil, the rest of the team bought in. It looks like Isaiah Joe's bought in. Looks like Mason Jones has bought in. Those are your two best players. And you could say Jimmy Witt's also on there. When your best players buy in, it's easier for the rest of the team to buy in. And the element that you're talking about that Madden uses, that's another professional element. Where do these kids want to be? I know it's MLB, it's not the NBA, but you're using a professional side of things. And these kids that are trying to get to some sort of professional level, whether it be the NBA, overseas, wherever, they like seeing that. They like constantly being reminded that Muss has these professional connections that he uses as much as possible.
Halftime brought to you by Breeden RV and Van Buren. Get over there while the year-end clearance sale continues, and they'll help you take that holiday stress away with a newer used RV and make it easy by letting you pick your deal. And Breeden goes along with either sales tax paid, no payments for 6 months, holiday cash back, or more for your trade. The deal that works best for you will work for Breeden as well. And, of course, every new RV comes with Breeden's exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV on Alma Highway in Van Buren and also on the web at BreedenRVs.com. Couple of things to get off my lawn that comes after the break on Halftime on a Tuesday.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
Forget what Santa says. Everyone is on the nice list at Road Chevrolet this Christmas. Hi, it's David Neal, and it's employee discounts for all on select new Chevrolet vehicles. We have savings up to $15,000 off on new 2019 Silverado Z71 crew cabs, and we have the new 2020 Chevrolet Equinox up to $6,000 off. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Employee discounts for everyone at Road Chevrolet. Exit 2 Alpha 5540 in Van Buren. RHODES Chevy.com. Find new roads.
See dealer for details.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements, plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
December is trading time at Rath Auto Resources. Hi folks, Larry Rath here with our last big promotion of the year. Trading time. With tax season just around the corner, we need your trade. So we're giving up to $3,300 above Kelley Blue Book value when you trade your old ride for a nicer, newer car from our Rath Road Ready inventory. We'll even buy your car. That extra money can go a long way toward helping you get more car or reducing your monthly payment. Plus, if you're one of those waiting on a tax refund, your wait is over. Ask one of our friendly, non-commissioned solution specialists how our TaxMax program can get you access to your money now. If you're keeping the car you have, let us get it ready for the new year with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires or a basic oil change for only $24.95 in our Meineke Car Care Center. Start driving better today with Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center. 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Tired of all the broken promises and broken equipment at your current gym? The Fort Smith Athletic Club is the nicest and most well-equipped fitness and tennis club in the area, with a state-of-the-art fitness center, Pilates, fitness classes, personal and group training, and the best tennis facilities in the region. 7 outdoor courts, 5 indoor courts, plus pickleball and racquetball courts. And free child care is included. The Fort Smith Athletic Club. Call 452-4031 for membership information.
It's cold outside. Did you know many natural gas appliances can operate even when the power is out? Natural gas fireplaces, gas logs, space heaters, ranges, grills, outdoor lights, and backup generators will operate when you need them the most. Install efficient, safe, and reliable natural gas appliances today. It's the right choice. Call 784-2000 or visit AOGC.com to experience the benefits of natural gas today. AOG, energy for life.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. All right.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Putting a cherry on the top of halftime today on a Tuesday. And that cherry on the top is Get Off My Lawn.
Get off my lawn. Listen, old man. Do not your what? Announce my presence with authority. Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
The old man.
Get Off My Lawn. Presented by Breeden RV and Power Sports.
Breeden RV wants to take your holiday stress away with a new or used RV. Pick your deal. Sales tax paid. 6 months, no payments. Holiday cash back. More for your trade. The deal that works for you, tell Breeden they'll work with you right on that. And, of course, every new RV comes with their exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV, Alma Highway in Van Buren, and at BreedenRVs.com. I've had a lot of fun on Sundays listening to the Cleveland Browns implode. And I thought I might have told you, Ty, that this could happen. I wasn't sure it would happen, but I thought there was the chance. Too many stars in playing for a star-crossed organization for a first-year head coach, and it's just way too much for all of them. And it's all come to a head in the last couple of weeks. So what was it, a week ago, Baker Mayfield pretty much threw the entire Cleveland Browns training staff under the bus, blaming them for mishandling Odell Beckham Jr.'s hamstring injury, which has now turned itself into a sports hernia injury that he might need surgery for. He tried to walk the comments back, but you can't walk comments back. That's pretty much trying to put the baby back where it can't go back in. And so that's been followed now by this last weekend where the Browns lose to the lowly Arizona Cardinals, and in the process see Jarvis Landry get into a shouting match on the sidelines with Freddie Kitchens in the fourth quarter, one that was captured on camera. I shouldn't call it a shouting match because it was pretty much one-sided. It was Landry telling Kitchens, or at least giving him a piece of his mind. And now there are multiple players that have apparently, during that game, shouted over to the Arizona sideline to come get me. Now, I would think if you're shouting to the opponent's sideline, come get me, that's like a challenge to them. Come and get me, I'm right here. we're gonna beat you. Come and get me. No, they are saying come and get me, meaning I
Trade
don't
for me.
want to play here anymore.
Sign for me. Trade.
I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And now Kareem Hunt is saying that many players for the Browns weren't even playing through the whistle in their loss against Arizona. So the Browns hate each other. They hate the training staff. They hate the coach, and they don't play to the whistle. So this is a great example of exactly how not to run things for an NFL franchise. And I could say I told you so, but I'll admit I was a little bit nervous about the roster that they put together in the preseason. But here it is, the team that's the dominant team in that division is Baltimore. I mean, by far. And Cleveland's not even on the radar right now. So, I mean, the team's going to have a completely different makeup for next year. I would imagine Beckham's gone. I would imagine Landry is gone. Maybe Hunt. I think Mayfield sticks around because I don't think anybody's going to want to trade for him right now with that contract. They're also going to need a new head coach. And let's just face it, they need a new city. They need a new franchise. Cleveland Browns, get out of the NFL and off my lawn.
Yeah, he's taking a very much delight in that last segment. I think there was at one point where I tried to change Phil's mind that the Browns would finally make the playoffs. They didn't. They were bad. They did not, unfortunately. And I think it only eggs on the fact that Baker Mayfield signed those commercial contracts before the season began, and now you still see him on those commercials. So people are really frustrated about that they continuously see Baker in all these commercials, and the Browns have not been good, and he hasn't performed like many people thought he would this year, which is very frustrating. And then you mentioned the Baltimore Ravens, what Lamar Jackson has been able to do in year 2 with Mark Ingram, Hollywood Brown, that defense. I mean, they've been really good. And Pittsburgh are they going to make the playoffs, Phil? You mentioned that.
They might. They're in the running.
What do they got? But they lost. I thought they were knocked out after the Bills. They still have a shot.
They got help. They got help from the Texans the last weekend. So they're still in the hunt for a 5 or a 6 seed. They're not going to go any further than the wild card.
Yeah,
round.
with
Duck.
Duck.
Not with Duck Hodges.
Duck.
Don't give me any more Mason Rudolph either. I've had enough of both of them. But yeah, I mean this whole Browns thing just reminds me of, and I told you, it's reminded me of like the 1995 Browns when they got Vinny Testaverde and Andre Badmoon Rison, and Belichick was the coach before Belichick was, Bill Belichick, Super Bowl winner. And they ended up finishing in dead last in the AFC Central, and then we're gone to Baltimore the very next year. Now this Cleveland franchise isn't moving, but I guess they might as well. And then I wonder how Baker will be received the next time he's on the video board at a Cleveland Indians game and decides to fully crush a beer on that video board. He got a standing ovation at the Indians game when he did that. What was that, in August? I don't think anybody's going to be putting him on the video board at Progressive Field anytime soon either.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, we're going to get to Jimmy and Conway in just a sec, Phil, but I just want to go over my get off my lawn real quick. Jacoby Criswell, unless something drastic changes, is going to be signing with the University of North Carolina and Mac Brown's squad tomorrow. For what I heard, and from what recruiting people and people much smarter than me have told not only me but others, kid wanted to go to Arkansas. He had a coach that didn't want him. Let's reiterate that. The number 1 quarterback in your state wanted to go to Arkansas. Chad Moore said no.
Morris didn't. I don't even think he visited him. Is this correct?
I know at one point you had Kirby Smart went up there, Jim Chaney went up there, and I think Barry Lunny Jr. was the only one that went up there. Now, don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's the correct way. Tommy, I might get a text from Tommy soon about that. Guy wanted to go to Arkansas. Number 1 quarterback in your state. He's now gone, and people are ticked that he's not trying to sign on with a guy that does not have his OC in place yet because he's an in-state kid. Now, I heard Derek Ruskin talk about this the other day, upward mobility, the fact that Arkansas fans love people to succeed in anything outside of sports, and if they succeed in sports, they only want it to be in-state. Just give this kid it props. Hope that he kills it out there in Chapel Hill. Hope that he wins the ACC. They dethrone Clemson because he wanted to go to Arkansas, and your coach didn't want him. And now you're expecting him to sign to a coach that doesn't have an OC in place. That's not going to happen. That's just not feasible. That's not – you're doing too much asking a kid. And I think for the most part, Arkansas fans have been very receptive and hope that he succeeds out east. But for those who are against him and are angry that he's not signing with in-state, I just don't understand you. I don't get it. And I just think they need to get off my lawn, Phil.
All right, let's go to Jimmy, who's dialed us up on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Jimmy in Conway, hi. You got something for off your lawn, or you got something else?
Well, I got something. Yeah, I got it off your lawn here. I want to know. I've called twice. Still waiting on an explanation or something. Why is the Slobbering Hog not on the court?
You were supposed to ask Hunter, Phil. Jimmy, he was supposed to ask Hunter. He was in the bathroom with him the other day. Didn't ask him.
The other day, that was a month ago. I think he's had other things going on.
Give me some offensive coordinator names you're hearing. I'm excited about this. Jacoby Criswell, heck of a player. Man, you can't blame him for going somewhere else. I wish he would just take the time and sign later and give him a chance to get somebody in place. He can still sign with Carolina later. But, if he wants to go ahead and get it over with, you can't blame him. And, he's a good kid. Wish him nothing but the best.
Okay, so let's get some OC names out there. There's Rich Rodriguez. There's Kendall Briles. You got Major Applewhite. Forget the name of the coordinator in Colorado. Those are the
Georgia guy. Yeah.
Rhett Lashley. Lashley, I think, would be an interesting choice. So, those were the names that we've read about, and apparently Briles might be one of the front runners. If you believe what I read in the 247 Sports site that covers the Seminoles, he might have actually been in Fayetteville last night.
Danny West, who does Hog Hustle, which you can listen to on 96.3 and I think 104.3 tonight at 7. He's under the impression that also Kendall Briles was here in Fayetteville, and I think that would be an interesting hire. And I watched his, and I know this is probably more of his dad than anything, but I watched his offenses at Baylor, and they were very successful. But you got to wonder if it can mesh with Pittman, what he's wanting to do, if he's going to be kind of hands-off with the offense and stuff. But, this OC hire is big, man. You got to get some offensive recruits in. Most of them are not going to come in until they know who that offensive coordinator is. So that's big moving forward, that you name it relatively sooner than later. So maybe you can get a kid to sign within this early signing period based on that, Phil.
And as far as the Slobbering Hog on the court at Bud Walton Arena, it is on there, just not where you wanted it to be. It's on the Nolan Richardson court logos, not in the mid-court circle. So
I'm with Jimmy.
It's there. It's just not where you wanted it.
It needs to be smack dab in the middle. I'm with Jimmy 100% on that. So the next big question you need to ask Hunter, what's the deal with the hog pen with alcohol being sold inside Bud Walton and Donald W.? If that gets ruined, I'm not going to be the only one that's going to be ticked off about that.
Do you want me to ask him about Coke over Pepsi when I'm done with that?
No, that's the only question I care about. Pepsi's just got a lock on Arkansas right now.
All right, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow and maybe some National Signing Day stuff. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time